Okay, this class, like we say every week, it's in memory of Acharei-Kedoshim. We are on page 248. This week we're going to read two parshas in the synagogue. Should have more books somewhere, but I don't know.
No, we're fine.
Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. Acharei Mot speaks about the death of the two sons of Aaron. Then it speaks about the laws of Yom Kippur. Then it speaks about non-legitimate marriages. Then we will go to Kedoshim. Kedoshim is the next parsha, the second parsha that we read this week. And it speaks about, David, I think it's somebody probably took a few books, one of the teachers or something, somebody put somewhere else a few books. Because we have 15 of each. We'll start, what's the name Kedoshim? What's Kedoshim?
Holiness?
Holiness. Now we will ask a question, and people who are in another class should not answer.
I couldn't imagine who that might be. Oh, wow.
Kedoshim. What means to be holy?
Part of it is separation. Part of it's being above and beyond.
Hello. Being above and beyond. Being separation. What means to be separated? What means above and beyond? Very good. He right away nailed it. Kedoshim is an order, because people say, to do this mitzvah. Then it's written clearly. Don't look for more books because there are none.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But I don't know where all the books disappeared. God knows.
Read half and half.
Then Kedoshim means to be holy means to go the extra mile. That's what Kedoshim means. When you say about Hashem, then God is Kadosh, is separated, is elevated. God is expecting from us to be a little higher, to hold ourselves to a higher standard. It's not a specific mitzvah, do this or don't do this. Kedoshim means separate yourself. You can do it, everybody else is doing it. Not because there is ice cream on the table, it means that I have to eat it. It's kosher, it's good, it's okay, it's not stolen from anybody, it's available, you can use it. It doesn't, that all of this doesn't yet mean that I need to eat it. Kedoshim means you are asking from your children to hold themselves to a higher standard. When your children tell you, but everybody else is doing it. Well, I don't care what everybody else is doing. You are my child. God is telling us the same thing. Everybody else is doing it, tell God. God says, I don't care what everybody else is doing. You are Kedoshim. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. That's what Kedoshim is. To hold ourselves to a higher standard. Now, today I was thinking a little bit about that. In the parshah of Kedoshim, which mitzvahs are mainly written in? Between men and God or between men and men?
Men and men.
Isn't this strange? You would think to be holy would be to pray 5 hours and to control ourselves not to eat all the food that I want and to control myself and I do not allow myself all the desires that I want. Should be the mitzvahs would make sense here, would be the mitzvahs to not only to keep Shabbos, all the mitzvahs men got to put in film and keeping kosher and family purity laws and going to the mikveh 5 times a day. I mean, that should be Kedoshim, right? To be holy. Which mitzvahs are in Kedoshim? All the mitzvahs between men and men. Do not steal. Honor your parents. Love your fellow Jew.
The first one, isn't it like the parent one? Fear your mother?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do not keep a grudge. Don't take revenge. Obviously, being holy has a different meaning than what we think. Who do you think a holy person is? He goes with a big shtreimer, and he's a holy man. He prays all day. Who do people think he's holy? He prays all day. You know what? Obviously, God has another understanding of holiness. Holiness is when you give away yourself, you give yourself for somebody else. That's what holiness is. Holiness when you think less about yourself and you give space for other. That's what God, what's God? When you say God is holy, what is he doing? He gives. He gives and gives and gives and gives. God is a giver. In the world, in life, there are givers and takers. The G's and the T's. If you look good, you look around yourself and you see. in every family, in every community, everywhere, in every business. There are the givers and the takers. And it's very clear. God is a giver. We want to be like God. God is holy, we should be holy. We should be giving. All the mitzvahs between man and man, and the title of the parsha is Ve'afta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow like yourself. That means Kedoshim. To love somebody like yourself, that takes a lot of holiness. Regular people don't do it. Even holy people who pray a whole day don't do it. Actually, sometimes they are worse even. No, but at least for sure not bad. It doesn't make you necessarily love your fellow more. Holiness has a whole different understanding. Then now we'll go to start a little bit from inside just to get into it, and we'll see where is this taking us. We'll start from there, okay. Want to start?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the entire congregation of Bnei Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy. For I, Hashem, your God, am holy."
Question.
Go ahead, question.
In what respect are we to be like God in holiness? Because some people have said that this, indicates that we have to be to a very high standard. We have to be almost on God's level. Other people have said we can only do it to the human extent. Obviously.
You're talking about loving your fellow Jew, or you're talking in general, this concept?
Be holy.
Be holy.
Yeah.
God is unlimited. Then always you can go more and more and more. Then to say like being almost on God's level doesn't really... You're never on God's level. You're always trying more. What yesterday was holy, for today it's not holy enough. And tomorrow will not be enough what I am today. A person is on a journey. He has to constantly grow. And every day he has to grow in his holiness. If he doesn't become holier, he becomes less holy. It's on a mountain. Or you're going up or you're going down. You don't get stuck, and you cannot be stuck in the same spot. Being holy, the more I think about it, being holy, giving things, loving somebody else, that's holiness. That's true holiness. That's the hardest thing to do. It's much easier to pray a whole day than to do a favor to somebody else. I can tell you that. To give in, not hold a grudge. Not to, he faulted me and he made me and he told me. That's the reality. That being holy means to try to be like God, being like God. Can you Hashem? Be holy because I'm holy. Learn from me, basically.
How are we to compare ourselves in that sense? I mean, again, God is unlimited and we're very limited.
Then obviously, as I said before, but the Talmud says, God is visiting the sick, we should visit the sick. How we know that God visited the sick?
Abraham.
God came, right? God there buried the dead, we should bury the dead. How we know God buried the dead? Will we bury?
Moshe.
Very nice, Moshe. God, there is more there. God is doing kindness.
Clothed and naked.
Clothed and naked. Do we clothed and naked? Very good. Adam and Eve. That's how we learn to be like God. Being like God. What is this?
So is being holy imitating God then?
Emulating God. Not imitating, emulating. Yeah, trying to go in God's ways. Are you hot, guys? No? Okay. I just don't want anybody to fall asleep here because I'm a little hot and I thought maybe.
I don't want you to fall asleep. So.
Yeah, that could be a little dangerous. That's what it means to be holy. Any other questions about holiness?
Wouldn't look good on
I'll
the
get
video.
there.
Huh?
No, saying wouldn't look good on the video if you fell asleep.
Yeah. We'll cut this piece out.
We don't want
Amen.
Edit it.
Number 3. Top of the page.
A man, you shall fear his mother and father and keep my Sabbaths. Now that's between man and God, that one.
Really. A man should fear his mother and father. That's between man and God, or between man and man, between him and his father.
It's like
And keep
honoring
the
him.
Shabbos.
It's like close to the 5th commandment, no?
Yeah, it's very close to the 5th commandment. That's why we repeat ourselves.
The 5th commandment's better than God.
5th commandment's what?
The 5th commandment.
It's categorized on that side of the.
On the side, but it's
It's
honoring your father and mother. We're not
Mother
talking
and
about
father.
God. Talking about your
this is-
father and mother.
But this is,
It just-
this is
it-
fear your mother and father,
Oh!
not
There's a
honor your
difference.
father
Then
and
what's the
mother.
difference between honor and fear? No? Go ahead. Don't be afraid.
Well, first of all, I believe the sequence is
Oh, the order is it's
it's
different.
flipped around. So
Yeah.
because you grow up, you fear your father,
You're right.
and you honor your
Naturally,
mother.
you honor your mother,
So
yes.
so that's why it's
Then the Torah tells you your weaker side. Usually a person honors his mother more. Then the Torah puts the father before the mother. Usually a person fears his mother more. Fears his father more. Therefore the Torah puts the mother before the father. But what does this mean to honor your parents? What does it mean to fear your parents?
It's interesting because the phrase that used to be used, which you rarely hear used now, is a God-fearing person.
Yeah. A
And-
God-fearing man. What's a
Yeah.
God-fearing man?
Well,
Abraham.
Are you talking about a person, or are you asking for like a definition?
Concept and definition.
Yeah. The concept of fear is that you're scared.
That's a very low
Mhm.
fear, right? Thinking about that's a good, important thing to understand. To fear God. What does this mean to fear God? That He's going to beat you up? You're not really fearing God. You're fearing the punishment.
The consequence of
The
separation.
consequence. No, wait a second. A simple level of meaning fear. If you fear God, means if you fear the punishment, you are not fearing God. You're fearing the punishment. You're the boss. I don't want to get in trouble with you. I don't fear you. I
Fear
don't.
the
I don't
consequences.
respect God. I fear the consequences.
Yeah.
That's bad news. It's a level. You need to start somewhere. That's a beginning. The higher level is to fear God, to respect God.
Like awe is the term.
The
that's
awe
used.
of God. How could I not do what He's asking for me to do? Let's borrow it to the parents. That when you are 3 years old, you're afraid of your father. But what do you do when you are 15, your father is 90? Who is afraid of whom? You're afraid of your father, they'll beat you up. You're afraid of the consequence of the punishment. You're not afraid of punishment. Fear God means to respect God. To respect fearing your parents means to respect your parents. Then what does this mean to honor your parents?
That's to take care of them.
Oh, Corey remembers that it means to honor your parents means to take care of your parents. Very hard mitzvah to do. There is a saying, two parents can raise 10 children. 10 children cannot take care of 2 parents, and I can be a testimony for this. Then it's the idea is that to take care of your parents. It's written. That's why it's written in Ten Commandments. Such an important mitzvah. It's written in Ten Commandments. Here it's written about respecting your parents. You're not allowed to interrupt them. You're not allowed. They have no idea what they're talking about, even when it's true, especially when it's true. But you have to respect them. That's what the Torah is saying in this week's parsha. It's actually the Ten Commandments in the reverse way in this week's. And then the Torah says you have to observe the Shabbos. That Rashi says if your father tells you to violate the Shabbos, you're not allowed to listen to him, because he is also obligated to observe God's laws. Your father and you, both of us, are obligated to listen to God. On the other hand, as much as it is important to observe the Shabbos, as much as it's serious, the mitzvah of observing Shabbos, that's how serious the mitzvah is of honoring your father and mother. And look here, it's written in the Ten Commandments, what's written first, Shabbos or honoring your parents?
Honor your parents.
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Oh,
In the Ten
in
Commandments,
the Ten.
Shabbos is before the Ten Commandments.
I'm sorry.
Here is the parents before Shabbat, to show you that it flips. They're equally important. Because both of them, the question is, why is the honoring your father made it to the 5 between man and God? There is the 2 tablets. One tablet is between man and God. One tablet is mitzvahs between man and man. The 5th commandment is honoring your parents, in the wrong list, so to speak, because it's between man and man. Why is this made it? Why honoring your parents made it to the
Isn't it?
higher list?
Is it? I'm trying to think of this as the one that has that God's a partner with the mother and father in the birth of a child, or not?
It's true.
This is true.
Absolutely. But why is this? Why? They say honoring God should be there.
Parents are kind of the model of God.
Oh, what does this mean?
Well, they function in that capacity. They're creators. They play a role in guiding and directing.
Oh. They are the who gives over the tradition. Any child who usually rebels against his parents, rebelled against Judaism. Then really, the parents are a part of between God and man. They are the representative of God to this child. God entrusted them to raise a Jewish child. Then honoring your parents is securing the survival of the Jewish tradition. If you honor your parents, you'll be a mensch, you'll listen, you'll be more traditional, so on. In our generation happened something that's like Messianic time, it's written. Then the children will rebel against their parents in a good way, where the parents are not traditional, and the children go back and bring the parents with them. It's written that there is a prophecy, Ve'ishiv lev banim al avotam. He will bring the children, God will bring back the children, they will bring the parents. They will return their parents to Judaism. And that happened in our generation. But usually, forever, a child who rebelled against his parents rebelled against the religion. It went together. In any case, that's two mitzvahs. Now we know what to do. We'll skip here a few things, and we
Quick
will
question
go.
before we skip.
Yeah.
Why is the Ten Commandments in essence repeated here?
I don't know. There's explanations, and it's a different
It's a different twist, obviously.
twist and twist to the Ten Commandments. Exactly.
I mean, it emphasizes, obviously the Ten Commandments because we see it really 3 times. We see it in Exodus, we see it in
Yeah.
Deuteronomy, we see it here.
Then there that's the two sets, official sets. It is like a different twist of it.
But this one has, and I'm not sure if the Ten Commandments is, this one has, after quite a few of these commands, whatever, it says, and you shall fear me, or I am the Lord your God. It's, it repeats itself. And you've said before that means that even if you don't see what I'm doing,
You're right, but it's in the Ten Commandments. It's written in the beginning.
oh, it is, yeah. Oh, the
I am
beginning.
God, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the introduction.
Right, I know that, but not all the
No,
other.
no. The moment you establish that I am God,
Everything.
then everything suddenly makes sense. We will go to page 254. Number 11. Cohen?
You shall not steal. You shall not deny a rightful claim, and each one of you shall not lie to each other.
Oh, yeah, there is so much to talk here. You shall not steal. First of all, it's written already in the Ten Commandments, do not steal, right? What's the difference?
Well, some interpretations, one's kidnapping in the Ten Commandments, and here it's property.
Yeah, the Ten Commandments speaks about human beings, not about money. Do not commit adultery is about people. Do not kill is about people. The do not steal is do not kidnap. That's what do not steal of the Ten Commandments is. Even it's good that people should think that do not steal in the Ten Commandments is about not stealing money, but really the not stealing in Ten Commandments, according to most commentators, is about kidnapping, stealing people. Here it talks about money. But if you look good, how it's written in the Ten Commandments in Hebrew, how it's written here and how it's written in the Ten Commandments. Here it's written lo tignovu. In the Ten Commandments it's written lo tignov. What's the difference? Lo signoiv and lo signoivo. Martel.
It's plural.
Yeah, you heard yesterday. That's plural. Lo tignov is individual. The Ten Commandments, the old Ten Commandments is written in singular, not in plural. God spoke to every individual in Israel. Actually, there's a good side to it. God spoke to Moses and came to the golden calf. Moses turned to God and says, "What do you want from them? You spoke to me, they overheard the conversation. You spoke to individual, right? Lo tignov, lo tinaf, lo isachmo, lo isirtzach, everything is to one. Then what do you want from the Jews? You didn't talk to them. But really, God spoke to every individual. Here it's in plural. Lo tignovu is in plural. You should not steal. To important people, you speak in plural. You understand the concept? We decided, very important people speak about themselves as plural. We, the government, especially in Hebrew and in Yiddish, it goes even better. That God says, You should not steal. Not only the regular people, but the important people. It's a special order to the important people. But really, it means but it's interesting that it's a plural, not in singular. Then he says, do not deny a rightful claim. And then he says, do not lie. Not allowed to lie, simple. Where is written you should stay away from a lie? Midvar sheker tirchak. I'm not telling. There's a pasuk in the Torah, you should stay away from a lie. Not only not lie, you should remove yourself from a lie as far as possible.
Is that where you build a fence around the Torah and around or not to associate with bad neighbors, something to that effect?
Could be. I don't remember myself where is the verse is. Midvar sheker tirchak, ונכיר את צדיק אל תהרוג, כי לא הצדיק רשע. I don't remember if it's in Exodus or I don't remember where it is. In any case, it's written, here it's written, you're not allowed to lie. Not only it's written, not allowed to lie, in another place it's written, you have to remove yourself. It shouldn't be even, you're not allowed to imply something that's not true. Let's say you're not allowed to borrow somebody else's car to go to an important meeting to show off that people should think that you're a big macher. Oh, he came with a car, with a Rolls Royce. We can make deals with him. He's a big macher. You're not allowed to give people the wrong impression. They should think about you something that you're not.
But we've got a number of examples, where Abraham is, we're told to lie to our spouses to keep the peace.
Every rule has an exception. What's the exception? When the morality, when peace and truth are contradicting themselves, you choose peace over truth. Verstehst? That's the rule.
That was Aaron's strongest.
Very good. Moses was truth. Moses laid down the law. Aaron was peace. Moses, when Aaron died, Moses, so to speak, said, learn from Aaron. Be like Aaron. Don't be like me. That's why the Pirkei Avot says, in Ethic of Our Father says, be of the disciples of Aaron. Love peace and pursue peace, right? Love the people and bring them closer to the Torah. Actually, what's from this parsha. Then when peace and truth are contradicting themselves, and usually they are contradicting themselves, usually. I can never saw a peaceful agreement with true, and I cannot see anywhere it's truth, there is peace. It just doesn't go together. It's not a world of truth in this. It's very hard to combine these two. In this case, you go with peace. But in general, it's about your own business. You cannot lie. You're not allowed to lie. You're not allowed to even give an impression, nothing, no implications of anything that's not true. You have to be very careful with it. People, it's a law that's a very, very strong, important law. You're not allowed to do it. But, go ahead.
Related to that, I was listening to a lecture on this, and the person speaking said that there is actually a rule in Jewish law that you can't own a scale that doesn't keep correct weights. I mean, you don't have to use it. If it's in your basement in a box, it's forbidden.
Yeah, this is very true, yes. Yes.
And is there anything else like that? I'm trying to think of anything else you're just forbidden to own. You can own a lot of stuff in Judaism, but...
Yeah, because somebody could make a mistake with it, that's why. You can lead to somebody else lying on scale, yeah. You're not allowed to own a scale, this is true. Yes. But, you can own everything, you're right, but you cannot own something that can make another person make a mistake. You will think if it's in your house, obviously the scale is a truth scale. It's the right measurement.
That's the weight scale.
The weight scale.
It's off. So you already weigh 10 pounds less.
Oh, you're on weight scale.
That's a little different.
This is a law. I'm not sure if this is a law because you're lying to yourself.
That gets to the truth piece.
Yeah, that's the piece.
Exactly. Depends who is using the scale, you or your wife. That's the question.
But, years ago I worked for a guy at the West Side Market, downtown Cleveland. And I shouldn't talk bad. many of the stands around, wherever you bought meat or potatoes, vegetables, whatever, they would throw the stuff on the scale, and there was always something that didn't belong there on the scale too.
You see, that's why the Torah doesn't speak about angels. The Torah speaks about human beings.
Right.
We need to be honest. The next law is number 12.
You shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am Hashem. You shall not withhold the wages of your fellow Jew, and you shall not rob. It shall not remain overnight the wages of a day laborer, keeping it in your possession until morning.
It means to say if you're supposed to give a person a salary, you're not allowed to hold it by you. You must give it to him on time.
Is there any significance to the order? I presume there is. I mean, these are
should not withhold
some
the
pretty strong
wages.
wage laws that are coming right after "Don't profane the name of God." I mean,
That's written after profaning
Yeah.
the name of God.
exactly. But I mean, it's pretty close. In
Oh yeah,
proximity.
that's profaning the name of God. Absolutely, it's profaning the name of God. That's a question if you don't do the right thing. Number 14.
You shall not curse a deaf person, and before a blind person you shall not place a stumbling block. You shall fear your God, I am Hashem.
Why we cannot curse a deaf person?
Because they can't hear you.
So why shouldn't I? Well, if he doesn't care, he doesn't.
their
Defend
fault.
themselves.
Because Hashem can hear, because it's
Because
a
it's actually-
defamation.
because it's from the simple, the person. It's not about the person. Every human being is the image of God. You curse a person. Why are we not allowed to hang a person? Because the image of God is hanged, right? Then every person is a creation of God. Who are you to curse a creation of God? So because he cannot hear, therefore what? I mean, actually it's more, because he cannot hear, we have to defend him even more. Then he says you cannot put a stumbling block in front of a blind person, as we mentioned many times. It's not only on the literal sense, it's also on the figurative sense. If somebody comes to ask you a business question, and you don't want them to do this business, and you give him the wrong advice, that's you commit the sin. And therefore, when it's a stumbling block in front of in this issue is blind, you're not allowed to do it. Doesn't make a difference what the issue is. It makes complicated issues about Shabbat with people who are, they don't mind not to observe Shabbat, and you know that it's not allowed. You cannot tell them to do it. You cannot even make them. You cannot cause them to do it. And he says of all of this, you should be you should be fearful of God, because God knows the truth. 258.
You shall not commit injustice in judgment, you shall not favor a poor man, and you shall not show honor to a powerful man. With righteousness shall you judge your fellow Jew.
It means to say like this. Some people say a judge is sitting, two people are coming to him. One is poor, one is rich. And the judge is a liberal. Says, oh, I love the poor, I'll take care of them. It's true that the poor owes the rich money, but he's rich anyway. We'll we'll say that he's okay, that he's allowed to, it's the money belongs to him, and we'll save him. Instead, we should have to beg for money. You're not allowed to do it, even not for a cent. If this money belongs to the rich, he has to give it back. Then you can ask him for a charity. But whatever belongs, the truth has to be the truth. You cannot twist the truth to favor one person or the other. The other side is somebody who favors the rich, the powerful. And he says, oh, this is a famous rabbi. Oh, this is the biggest donor in the community. What are you going to embarrass him because of $5? We'll say that he's right. Later, I'll go and I'll tell him secretly, give him $5. The truth is that he's right, but I just didn't want to embarrass you. You're not allowed to do that either. And this is a very hard, challenging mitzvah. Can you imagine? The person supports the whole Jewish community. He comes to the rabbi for a quote, he has a disagreement with one of the schlepper, And the rabbi thinks in himself, if I make him upset, the whole community will suffer, and the hospital will not get the money, and then the nursing home will not have this, and the cemetery will not do this. And this guy, big deal, he loses a few dollars. You're not allowed to do it. And it's a very, very challenging commandment for people who are in these positions.
Can you throw in the peace card on that? Say if I
Peace card, peace,
misjudge you?
no. Peace is if both of them agree to make a deal. Jewish law encourages the rabbis to make deals, to make a pshara, it's called. What's called a pshara in English? Compromise. Let's make it. You'll get you offer him $100, give him 50. Let's make a deal. Yeah, Jewish law encourages it.
We'll go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
If both of them agree, but if they disagree, to lie to one, to twist the law, just to make the other person look good, that's not allowed.
But I think what we were talking about before is lying the lying in peace. And now what you're talking about, as I understand it, is the balance between compassion or mercy and judgment.
No, that's not even compassion. That's the judgment. When you come to the court, it has to be the truth.
Right. No. But I mean the poor man, the rich man.
Oh, yeah. It's compassion.
You have compassion for the poor.
You cannot have compassion the wrong way, in the wrong time.
But I mean, if something happened, I don't know, the poor man, his car slipped on the ice and hit the rich man's car. Compassion says he's a rich man. It wasn't the poor man's fault. Why should he have to pay? But judgment says, wait a minute.
Act of God.
The rich man's car was hit.
Yeah.
The poor man has to pay. So,
Well,
there's no real right answer here.
No, there is a right answer.
No,
He
the
has to
right
pay.
answer is the balance.
No, he has to pay. Later, you can ask the rich man to forgive him. But what's the law? The law, the truth, the law is the law.
Okay.
There is a right answer. The law is the law. Later you can ask, you can make a fundraiser and help him. You can come to the rich man and tell him, shame on you, you're collecting the money from him. But the law is the law. You cannot, or if they come to court and both of them, and the rabbi is able to convince both of them to make a deal, that's a different story. That's even better. That's encouraged. In general, today the Beit Dins are trying always to find a middle ground. Try to make it work. Not to cut it through, and no matter what, we'll pursue the truth. But if the two parties do not want to make an agreement, then he has to come to the truth, say the truth. Yeah, he cannot twist it. 16.
Do not be a talebearer among your people. You shall not stand.
What does this mean?
Yeah. Gossiper?
A gossiper.
This is a repeat of like last week almost.
I don't remember last week.
A lot
Are
of
you talking about last week was
Lashon hara.
leprosy?
Exhibit.
Last week
it
in
talks
the
about-
Torah was written about
Well,
leprosy.
the commentaries talked about it, the saying.
Yeah, exactly. Here it's written about
Actually,
gossiping.
but it's not actually the same because
There is Lashon Hara, there is Rechilus. What's the difference? Very good, no? Go ahead.
you can. There are other things you can dishonor. You could get the problems with. It's a matter of respect in different ways.
Rechilus is what? Evil talk? No. You said Rechilus.
Rechilut is going around and spreading stories about you.
Lashon Hara is more.
Lashon Hara is bad slander. Here, Rechilus is not even bad necessarily. Speaking about other people.
But it's not just the people either. You could get it for almost anything, couldn't you?
What do you mean? Rechilus? What?
No, not Rechilus.
Talking about
the
now.
leprosy.
Yeah, let's not go there. Let's not even go there.
I thought you meant
That was last week.
All right.
We will not go to leprosy. Then we cannot go around and tell stories about other people. Simple. And usually it's for sure combined with gossip. That's what create a problem. But even saying good things about other people, they can put them in trouble. The Talmud brings an example. You went to another town, and the other person hosted you beautifully. You go to everybody, say, this guy is such a good host, go to him. Before long, yes, 20 guys are knocking on his door. Put him out of business. Then even saying good, if it's going to cause a person trouble, it's also not allowed. And usually, how the gossip starts. It starts with good, then ends with bad. Talking about people, not gossip, talking about people. In America, there is even a very special way. It starts like this. I really like this guy. I know already what comes next. And when it's such a nice introduction, in Hebrew, nobody gives you such a nice introduction. They just say as it's bad, they start the gossip straight. No messing around. In America, it took me a while to understand what's going on, to understand how people talk. I really like this guy. I stay right there. Yeah, so what comes next? The compliment comes before the bad thing. Then that's what the Torah says. You're not allowed with I really like to start. Don't talk about this guy, even the nice things. You don't need it. You don't need your compliments. Just don't go there.
Plus, it can cause, you said, the evil eye a little bit. You said?
That's another story. Then the Torah says you shall not stand idly when the blood life of your fellow is in danger. What does this mean?
If a person's in distress, it's a problem. You have to try to save him.
Then Rashi says and gives an example. You shall not stand to behold his death when you are able to save him. As for example, one who is drowning in a river, or a wild beast or a robber attacks him. You see another person is drowning in a river. You have to jump into the water.
If you can swim.
Very good point. If you can swim. If you don't know how to swim, don't. Because you will die. You will not help him. But if you know how to swim, jumping into to save somebody, it's also a risky thing because it could pull you down. Then the Torah tells you have to take upon yourself a small risk to save a life. You have an obligation. You cannot stand and see the blood of your the other person dies. Say, oh, what should I do? I couldn't help him. He was dying. You know today's custom is what they do when they see somebody drowning.
Just do it the video.
Throw him a rope.
No, video.
Oh, call 911.
They
No,
take
but
a
video. They put it on YouTube.
Right.
The tragedy.
The video, the tragedy.
And you're
It
not
happened
culpable.
many times lately in Israel and other places. Everybody takes this video. That he should be the first one to get a scope. Instead of doing something. That's what the Torah says. You not understand. Now, what does this mean in a spiritual sense? I remember the Rebbe was speaking about it for a long lecture. Then after he finished the literal sense, he says, you see your friend drowning in the world, getting lost from Judaism. You're not allowed to stand on the side and say, it's not my problem. You have to jump into the waters, into the storming waters of life, and save him. You cannot say, I have to protect myself. I want to live in Jerusalem and Mea Shearim and be comfortable. But I go to live in Alaska, in China, what, I'm crazy? You have to take even what you say, it's risky for my children. They might be affected by the world. Torah says you should take a small risk to save from a big risk. To save a life of another person. We cannot afford to be self-righteous, basically.
Are there limitations on that for Kohens? So, for example, if the high priest were about to go in for Yom Kippur, and somebody trips and falls and is in trouble, is the high priest obligated to go save that person at that point?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So saving life supersedes
absolutely everything. By high priest, there is even a better example. It's written that a high priest, a Kohen, is not allowed to touch a dead body, right? Mm-hmm. Not allowed to become impure.
But it also says.
But if he goes on the street
on the road
and there is nobody else there, beautiful. He has to become impure. Now think about the high priest is on the way to the Holy of Holies. On the way, he's going, whatever. Usually he didn't go out of the temple. Let's say he had an emergency. And he left. And he walked back he's walking on Kippur morning, he's about to get the lifetime experience. And he sees a dead person on the road. There is nobody there. Whatever reason happened. Was a war. I don't know what happened. If he passes by the dead body and to run to the Holy of Holies, is not worthy of entering the Holy of Holies. Even if you lose the whole opportunity, the moment he touches a dead body will take him a whole process of purification. He cannot enter the Holy of Holies. This is more important. And that same thing, basically, if it's somebody that cannot help himself, you have to help him. About if there is a mitzvah to help the dead, how much more there is a mitzvah to help the living? There was once a rabbi, he's still alive. His name is Tokeya, I think, something like this. He was busy with fixing cemeteries in Europe. The Rebbe came to the Rebbe told him, why you get busy with the dead? Why not busy with the living? You have living Jews who need your help. fixing cemeteries. Don't worry. They're not running away. They're not going anywhere. They're living. Every living Jew you can save. The same thing was once a guy, he wanted to be, his father was a shochet, and the Rebbe sent his son to be a Chabad rabbi somewhere. He came to the Rebbe, he complained, he said, I want my son to be a shochet like me. The Rebbe told him, why should he deal with chickens if he can deal with people? It's all about priorities.
Question.
Go ahead.
I've never been able to understand this quite. Maybe you can help explain it to me. Everybody here has heard the term Good Samaritan, but most people don't know where the term comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just give you a very brief rundown of the New Testament story on this one? Because it plays into this right here. A priest and a Levite are walking on the road away from Jerusalem, and they pass by a guy who's been mugged, basically, who's in the ditch, who's desperate. And they basically keep going. Another guy, let's call him a Palestinian, walks by and says, this is terrible, this happens to this guy, takes care of him, pays for his medical bills, does everything else. And the Palestinian is called a good neighbor, and the priest and the Levite basically are condemned for all intents and purposes. And the Palestinian, let's call the Good Samaritan. They put it in kind of modern verbiage here.
Okay.
That's the gist of the story.
Okay, then what's the question?
Well, the question is, Jews get a real bad rap for that in the New Testament, for that story. But according to this, they should, the priest and the Levite should be saved.
And by the way, they call the Samaritans.
Yeah.
Who were the Samaritans?
That's why I used the Palestinian example.
No. Let's talk. Let's go about the
Okay.
Samaritans. Let's not talk about somebody else. Who were the Samaritans?
The Samaritans were an imported group. The Assyrians kicked out the northern kingdom, brought in a group of scabs, let's call
Okay,
them.
let's talk in simple English. There was an Assyrian king that he conquered the world, and his policy was to remove people around, move neighbors. Population exchanges. He moved the people from Solon to Akron, the people from Akron to Solon. He moved people on. But he did the same thing in Israel. He took the 10 tribes and he exiled them. That's the 10 lost tribes. He did it. And he brought instead a group of the non-Jewish people. Okay, what happened to them? They came to Israel, and what happened?
They adopted some of our ways. And
Why they
didn't adopt
adopted?
others.
In the beginning, they didn't adopt anything. But then they were attacked by lions. Attacked by lions. That they felt that the gods of Israel are not happy because they don't serve the God of Israel. That they converted to Judaism, but because they did it out of fear of the lions, that was not a true conversion. That was not that they were convinced that Judaism is the right religion. That they were always a little bit Jewish, a little not. It was a big mess with them. And actually the Jewish people suffered from them a lot. Over the years, the Jewish people suffered from them a lot. For example, when Alexander the Great came to conquer Jerusalem, they tried to convince them to destroy the Holy Temple. And more stories like this. That's what Ezra or Nehemiah, when they built the second temple, they said, not for you and for us to build together the temple. The Jews didn't want the Samaritan to be a part of the temple. And they went to Shomron, to Mount Gerizim, and they built their own temple there. That the Jews actually suffered a lot from the Samaritans at that time. That Samaritans were not good Samaritans, they were bad Samaritans. That the whole term is not a Jewish term. But in today's meaning, a good Samaritan means somebody who cares for another person. Then somebody who observes this law, they do not stand when you have to save your friend, is a good Samaritan. In today's language, is a good Samaritan. You understand what I'm saying? It's not necessarily. But yeah, I know that's the wrong thing. Number 17.
You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall certainly rebuke your friend. But you shall not bear a sin on his account.
Okay. There are 3 things here. You should not hate your brother in your heart. Only publicly, not in your heart, not inside. Only you should show it. You should show it with the haters.
Privately.
You cannot have a grudge, basically. You cannot hate somebody. If you have something to tell them, tell them. Let's put it on the table. Now, this law, "Ocheach tochiach et amitecha," you should rebuke your friend. What is to rebuke?
Correct.
Correct. That if you see a Jew who doesn't know anything about Judaism, you have to correct him. How you do that? How you do such a thing? Whatever the way it's named. You have to accomplish the the mission. It's not enough that you say, I came, I told them not to do it, and I left. It's written you have to do it even 100 times. Not to scream 100 times because you accomplish nothing. You have to make sure that the person will do the right thing. That all the outreach work, all the going out and bringing Jews back to Judaism could be based on this law. You have to make sure that your friend is doing the right thing, whatever it takes.
Rebuke in English has a very negative connotation to it. It's like scolding someone.
I know, Ocher, that in Hebrew also does not have the best, but it means you have to make sure that he's doing the right way.
And you can do it positively or you can do it negatively.
Usually
It's better to use it
negatively.
positively.
No, negatively usually doesn't work. We all know. You might enjoy it that you screamed at somebody. That's nice, but it doesn't work really.
But it says you should certainly rebuke your friend. You don't have to rebuke your enemy.
Not only who can you rebuke somebody that you know will take it. Again, there is a famous example, a famous story of Levi Yitzchak about Ditchev that just shows how he rebuked. Not the word rebuke, not reprimand. The word is correcting. In some places, you have to like fix your neighbor, fix your friend, or correct your friend, or bring him to his right behavior. The famous story with Rabbi Yitzchak about Ditchev was walking on the street on Yom Kippur, and he saw a Jew smoking on Yom Kippur. He told him, Rabbi, maybe you forgot that today's Yom Kippur. He said, no, Rabbi, I know. Maybe you forgot you're not allowed to smoke on Yom Kippur. He said, no, Rabbi, I know. He turns to God and says, Father in heaven, look what a wonderful children you have. Even a guy who smokes on Yom Kippur doesn't want to lie. What does this mean? It's a nice story and remembered all the way to you. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev wanted to remind the Jew, to tell the Jew that he shouldn't, he's not doing the right thing. But to come and scream at them that he's doing the wrong thing, not only will not accomplish anything, he will turn him off completely. Then what he did it in a loving way. Believe me, this story is remembered until today. We're still repeating the story. If you just meet this Jew and scream at him, you know how many people do it? We don't know them, we don't remember them. Nobody wants to remember them. This is the way how you remember how you rebuke somebody in a loving and a kind fashion. You're reminding him about the mitzvah, but you do it in the most loving way. Then comes number 18. Go ahead.
You shall not take revenge or bear a grudge against the children of the people.
Oh, that's painful. Let's stop right here. Do not take revenge. Okay, do not take revenge is already, it's bearable, you know. Do not bear a grudge. You're not allowed to have any anger in your heart. And the Talmud brings the example, Rashi brings the examples, that if you borrowed for somebody a car, let's say, and he didn't want to give you, you were trying to ask from somebody for a car, and then he didn't want to give you, then he comes tomorrow and he's asking from you for the same thing, then
And you give it to him.
taking revenge means not to give it to him.
I take it away.
Holding a grudge means tell him, I'm not like you. That's it. I'm not like you.
But let him get the car.
You're not even allowed to do this. Who is the perfect example for this in Judaism?
Yosef.
Joseph. It's written in Tanya. It's written that Joseph, he paid with good for bad. The brothers sold him as a slave. They wanted to kill him. How he paid them? He paid them by saving their lives. They want to kill him. He saved them. Just the flip, the opposite of the same thing what they want to do to him. And he could take him as slaves. And he made sure that they are not slaves. And so on and on. That's the example that we learn. Then comes the title of this parsha. Go ahead.
Okay, before we get there,
Yeah, go ahead.
love your enemy. And is there any sense?
Love your enemy? Where is this written?
Well, not in our Bible, anyway.
The New Testament.
Right.
Is that, I mean, we have that concept, doing positive things, as you're indicating, doing positive things for those who do negative things to
A
us.
Jew cannot be your enemy. That's the point.
You have to love your fellow.
You have to make sure you have something against them, come and fix it.
But with your enemy, you have to raise his burden if his horses.
If somebody, you always say enemy, somebody wants to kill you, what? If somebody wants to kill
Well,
you, you have to save yourself.
Sure.
Somebody
mean-
wants to hurt you, you have to save yourself too.
The concept, though, of doing positive things for your enemies, as Joseph did. In his,
They were
his
not
bro-
his enemies at this point.
brothers.
Okay.
No, I wanted his enemies. It's not love your enemy doesn't mean they want to sell me as a slave. Yeah, go ahead, guys. I love you. Yeah, that's okay. You have to prevent them from doing the wrong thing, but not hate them.
Mhm.
Somebody has to go to jail. You have to put them in jail. It doesn't mean you have to hate them. That's the point.
Mhm.
You prevent them from hurting other people. Let's say somebody who is a danger for the community. You have to lock him up. But I feel bad for him. You don't hate him. You understand? That's the difference. It's talking about the feelings. He's talking about.
Let's put it in, the example that happened yesterday. I mean, you've got a bomber in Boston who's blowing the legs off of all these people.
Yes.
Obviously,
yes.
very hard not to hate whoever this person is. But we're
It's
commanded.
It's not about hating. It's about taking care of them, big time. You know why? To prevent the next terror attack. Number one.
Taking care of big time, what's that mean? What's that mean?
You know what it means. To make sure that he cannot do the same thing again and to prevent the next terrorist. It's not about hater to not hater. I remember
deterrence,
after
yeah.
September 11, they called me from the newspaper, are you hating them, are you loving them? That's all a bunch of garbage. Here is about protecting your life. You have to make sure that your life is being protected. No, that's not about hatred. We're not teaching for hatred, but don't translate it the wrong way. We are here doing something to prevent the next terror attack. If you will punish him, the next one will be more afraid. I might be loving him, but I have to punish him just because the next person. That's what I'm saying. It's not about feelings, it's about action. It has nothing to do with feelings. You might pray for them, they should become good people, all nice and fine, but when you find the terrorists, you better put them in jail, or even worse than that. Maybe that will first of all, prevent them from doing the same thing again, and prevent another 100 people from having such ideas. It's a terrible thing, I mean. That's not what we are talking about. You understand? We're talking about a person, let's not take it always to the Nazis or to the terrorists. We're talking about my neighbor who makes me really nervous, Not about a guy, my cousin, my brother-in-law, my this, my that. Regular, humane, person to person. Then we say you should follow, you should love, go ahead.
You shall love your fellow Jew as yourself.
Your
I
fellow,
am Hashem.
that's it. Your fellow, you hear? Not your neighbor, your fellow Jew. What means to love your fellow Jew like yourself? What means to love your fellow? What do you think? Martel, what do you think means to love your fellow Jew like yourself?
Well, give them the benefit of the doubt. I can find myself being the good guy in a lot of situations, and maybe some other people.
Then what's the difference? How you treat yourself, how you judge yourself, and how you judge others?
We judge ourselves based on our intentions, and we judge others based on their actions.
That's nice, but that's not the only difference.
No, but
I mean,
that's certainly
that's
a
an
difference.
interesting observation. We judge ourselves based on our intention. That's very nice. And what we do when our intentions are wrong too, then how we judge ourselves.
We still judge ourselves favorably.
We
no matter what.
rationalize.
Rationalize, right? Then where is the source, the soul of the difference between judging others and judging yourself, between treating others and treating yourself?
Unconditional.
Conditional love or unconditional love? Yourself is unconditional. Others is conditional. Who else you have unconditional love to?
Children.
To your children, because it's you. The Torah tells us something very hard to do. To love another Jew unconditionally. Impossible. How could I love another person unconditionally? Then how we reach there? What are you supposed to do? How we get to this level? There is, like you said, many commentators, what means to love your fellow. What do the other commentators say?
Well, go ahead.
What, as to love or as to your neighbor? I mean, there's splits on both.
And to love. Forget about the neighbor.
Most love is action.
Take care of them.
Yeah.
Here he talks about loving. Loving is more than just an action. Action is an expression of the love, but love is a feeling. Love your neighbor like you say, love your fellow like yourself means like you love yourself. No matter what, you love yourself. Even when people say, but I hate myself. For how long? For a second? Why you hate yourself and you don't hate me? Because you care for me. Because you love yourself. That's why you hate yourself. You don't hate me because you don't love me. Then what means, how could we reach the love, how could we reach unconditional love to another person? It's an impossible thing. To start to think that everyone is like your child. Right? That's easy. There is once a rabbi, a famous, rabbi from a different community came to the Rebbe and complained to the Rebbe how dear is going out and doing outreach to people who are completely against Judaism and they are against and they are terrible and they are this and they are that. The Rebbe asked him, if your daughter would run away to California from the Hasidic community and leave everything, what would you do? Told the Rebbe, oh, my daughter, I would send somebody to talk to you. Rabbi gave him knock on the table, says, to me, every Jewish girl is my daughter. That's the only difference. Because it's not mine, right? Because it's not my child. If it would be my child, it would be a different story. That's what it's all about, to feel that everyone is your child.
That's difficult.
Difficult, I know that.
What about looking at each person as your equal, or seeing that they all have the same godly soul, or...
How you reach to see in everyone that is your child? What Hillel said. The famous line that Hillel said. What Hillel said.
The negative version, which is don't do
Don't
anything.
hate. Don't
Yeah,
hate.
don't hate.
No, they didn't say don't
Stand
hate.
on one foot.
Yeah,
The
don't
rest
do
is
anything to
commentary.
someone else that you wouldn't want done to you.
Don't do something to another person that you don't want it should be done to you. That's what he said. He said, this is the whole Torah, and the rest is commentary. Then the Alter Rebbe in Tanya is asking, how is the rest a commentary to this mitzvah? What does this mean? How is putting on tefillin a commentary to love your fellow Jew? How is it exactly a commentary? Making a bris to love your fellow... How could you say that the whole Torah is a commentary? I'm making Kiddush now. How making Kiddush is a commentary to love your fellow? Mainly if you say all the mitzvahs can be mitzvahs between man and man and mitzvahs between man and God, right? Then there is two categories. Then I understand you can say that all the mitzvahs between man and man are a commentary to love your fellow. They are an expression of it. They are an offshoot of this. Yeah, makes sense. But mitzvahs between man and God? Not to worship idols? This has to do with loving your fellow Jew. I'm taking the lulav on Sukkot. Oh, this will help me to love my fellow Jew. No, I might fight with them even. Don't push me. It's my time, my lulav.
Everything has to be connected to loving your fellow Jew? Every single mitzvah?
Well,
Didn't Hillel said, this is the whole Torah, and the rest is commentary, right? The rest is a commentary to the mitzvah of love your fellow
you can see
Jew.
that with the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord your God. And then really,
How is I'm the Lord of God? A commentary to love your fellow Jew.
No, to the rest of the Ten Commandments, because everything else follows from it.
But
And so the loving a fellow Jew is the offshoot of the same thing of honoring your parents, and we started off the comment.
let's go back to the question. How is putting on film a commentary to love your fellow Jew? How is this helping me? The question in simple English. How is this helping me to love my fellow Jew more?
Set an example for them.
No,
Am I putting on film set an example for somebody who doesn't want to put on film?
because
No.
the more we're
He
connected,
doesn't even know.
because the more I'm become connected to Hashem, the more I'm connected to Hashem, the more that I'm going to be able to see Hashem and everybody else.
Oh, you're getting somewhere. Love you. Every mitzvah reminds you, it's not about me, it's about God. What separates me from other person? Me! Don't take my space. Push it. He's stealing from me, he's taking from me. It's all about me. What's a mitzvah? A mitzvah reminds you why I do the mitzvah. I put in film. God tells you to put film. But I don't want, it's not about you, it's about what God wants. Your spiritual side is more important than your physical side. Not your physical, your ego side, who you are. It's about what Hashem wants for me. My spirit, my soul, not my body. My neshama, what my neshama needs. My godly soul, not my animal soul. That my animal side is being subdued, so to speak. Put down. It's not about you. If it's not about me, I have place for him too. That's what the difference is. Every mitzvah reminds me every day, every minute, it's not about me. I kiss the mezuzah, it's about God. In God's world, there is place for me and for him. In my world, there is no place for anybody. In the spiritual world, you see, money, space. If I'm here, it cannot be here. It cannot be in the same spot. Torah can be for everyone, right? Everybody can share the Torah. My knowledge doesn't take away from me. It doesn't steal away from me, my knowledge. How do you stealing a piece of my Torah? There is enough for everybody. Cake cannot be enough for everybody. If you take this piece of kugel, I don't have it. Spirituality, there is enough for everybody. It's not, you're never short of spirituality. Oh, I can't believe he stole away my secret. I know the Torah now. He learned and I cannot get it anymore. And you can, and he can, and everybody can.
You have to be busy doing mitzvahs.
Then the mitzvah not about being busy. The mitzvahs educate you and remind you that it's all about your neshama, not about you. It's about him, not about me. The moment it's about him, and he's about him, when I look from a body point of view, my body and his body are contradiction. My neshama and his neshama are not a contradiction. Just the opposite. They complement each other. That's why, what's a minyan? A minyan is bringing people together. Only then you can pray to God. Only when you understand that I need the other person to help me to pray, only then I can pray to God. Then, ve'afto l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow like yourself. When can I reach him? The more myself is a spiritual self, the more there is place for another person. And that's what the Alter Rebbe explains. Until the Alter Rebbe, nobody was able to explain how could you reach to love another person like yourself. First of all, the word like yourself, unconditional love, is also something that the Alter Rebbe pointed out clearly in the book Tanya. He has a whole chapter about this mitzvah. Chapter 32. It's lev. Lev, in Hebrew, 32, Lamed Beit is lev. Lev means the heart. The heart of the whole Judaism is loving your fellow Jew. Kedoshim tiyu, back to the beginning. What means to be holy? What means to be holy? Love your fellow Jew. If you are a true holy man, there is place for everybody. Then if you are so holy you don't have place for anybody, you better check your holiness. That's what means to Kedoshim tiyu. Love your fellow like yourself. And when I can love another person, then I know I'm holy. If I cannot find place in my heart for another Jew, then there is far, far, far from holiness.
Thank you.